Yeah, thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Sounds like a good day on campus. Lots going on, so glad you guys are here. Hard to believe that we're a week away, or roughly, I guess, 8-9 days out, but excited to get started. It's been an awesome group to work with so far. Very thankful to have back some of the kids that are here, especially some of the veteran kids that, gosh, we're lucky to get to coach some of these guys now 4 or 5 years. So that's been special to have some of those guys back, and also excited about our newcomers. I think we have 16 freshmen and an additional, I want to say, 8 or 9 other newcomers. So 24, 25 new members of the team to go along with kids that are back. They've been great to work with. We had a good fall semester, kind of getting established, and then we've been hustling like everybody has second semester to get our team ready to go. And these kids have been fantastic. So work ethic has been excellent. Strong leadership qualities amongst this group that have been very enjoyable to work with, and I think it's a good team. But a lot of new faces to go along with some returners. So, yeah, happy to take you through it however you'd like, but excited to get started. And we'll open it up in a great setting in Globe Life, probably the premier game of the country, opening day against Arkansas. Hopefully there'll be 25,000 people there like there was last time down there, and a lot of fun. So other than that, happy to break it down in any way you'd like.
Josh, can you talk a little bit about Blake and just what he's brought to the pitching staff and kind of the identity of the staff now?
Coach Hawksworth, yeah, he's done a great job. You know, it was I think it's a lot when you're learning a bunch of new faces as a coach, and then you're implementing things like pitching philosophy and working one-on-one with pitchers and all the different things that go into that relationship. Pitchers they're very fine-tuned athletes. They take great pride in what they do, and so Blake did a great job in the fall of getting to know each kid, understanding what made him tick. He watched a lot of film to familiarize himself with their history, and then really just went to work one day at a time with them. And you coach them all a little bit differently for sure. They have varying styles and release points and pitch types, so pitchers are definitely special in that regard. And then I think to then start to teach them collectively as a whole a philosophy of how to execute, how to compete, both on the physical side, but I think where he's done a great job is on the mental side, really teaching them a mental process that I think he became quite familiar with during his time as a major league pitcher, and then that of a pitching coach. So a lot of work, a lot of new faces, but I think he's developed strong rapport with these guys in a short amount of time. You know, what does that look like? You're going to see some guys in this rotation early that our fans will be excited to watch. Hudson Barrett's a guy that'll probably pitch game one right out of the chute, transfer from UCSB. Missed all of his sophomore year with Tommy John, and then pitched sparingly last year as a junior as he came back from the surgery. But he's been a guy that had a lot of success there early in his career, and has a unique pitch style. He's a bulldog, aggressive. We'll talk about Mario. Just walked in the room. Mario in the rotation, another guy. Best version of himself for sure this year. Going into this year, he's done an awesome job with his offseason. So we have some varying styles of guys. Ethan Lund, a big left-handed arm that missed a good portion of last year, kind of working through some shoulder soreness. He's healthy and has been outstanding. So we got some different styles that we'll throw out there. Good stuff, different looks. And to be able to coach all different types of pitchers, whether you're a sinker ball pitcher, a fastball pitcher, whether you throw the curveball a lot, whether you throw the slider, there's just a lot of pitch types. And so being able to coach guys in different styles successfully is definitely something that he's shown the ability to do. And he's fit in really, really well. Got great chemistry amongst the staff and amongst the kids.
What's it been like? You were with Rob for so long. I imagine you almost know what each other are thinking at a certain point. What's it been like for you to be working with another guy in that position?
It's great. A lot of communication. We talk every single morning for about 30 minutes, just talk about baseball, talk about ideas. It's fun to hear perspectives. And, Blake's got a good track record of just his baseball journey in general. He's learned from some tremendous baseball people. So he's had that unique experience as a player and as a coach to come across some great thinkers in baseball. He had a really close working relationship with Harvey Dorfman who authored The Mental Game of Baseball, The Mental Keys to Hitting, The Mental Keys to Pitching. So just, different backgrounds in baseball, different learning opportunities that people have. And then you sit down and talk about them, and kind of shapes your thinking a little bit and creates the language that you speak in. So we've had a lot of fun talking baseball, and Rob was wonderful. 13 awesome years working alongside each other. So, but yeah, very, very comfortable already just in talking about baseball with him.
When you look at what you learned, whether it was in fall or early this winter, where are the areas where you feel most comfortable about this team in terms of what you're going to see on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with just some of the personalities that we know and the leadership that they've put on display. The work ethic's been excellent. So it's a blue-collar team. They love to be here. They love to put the time in. That being said, some of the kids that we've grown to know, we know what we're getting out of those guys. Aidan Meola's in a great spot heading into his 5th year. Obviously, the season-ending injury last year is what's allowed him to return due to that medical red shirt. Avery's been back and been awfully good. He, much like Aidan, missed the vast majority of last season with his quad injury. He's been rock solid and has played a great shortstop so far. Brock Thompson's back as a sophomore. He really played good last year, especially down the stretch as a freshman. Bruggie's back. He kind of benefited from one of the unique opportunities to get that extra year of eligibility. So he roots, and we all rooted for Diego Pavia all fall because it was his waiver that allowed Brugge to return. Rich has had a tremendous fall and an even better early spring in center field. He's played wonderful and really built upon the success he had last year. Conover comes back. He was part of the emergence of our team late last year. He also has had a good ramp up. And then, we have some other personalities that we've grown to really trust. You start thinking about Drew Blake, who's throwing the ball the best he's ever thrown it. Brennan Phillips, those guys are ready for what I think will be really outstanding years. And then some of those freshman pitchers last year that really by the end I thought started to show what we kind of knew. Noah Weck wrapped the season up with 7 shutout innings in a regional. He's done a heck of a job. Stormy Rhodes has done a heck of a job. So some of those kids that we really started to know as the season went on to go along with the veteran players, those personalities I think have given us a lot of stability. Our practice levels are up. Our competitiveness inside those practices are very good. They're welcoming in newcomers and allowing those first-year players to feel like they're a part of this right away has been very strong. So those are just all good indicators for me that this team already has an idea that it's going to take all of us to be successful, but there's some familiar faces there. And that being said, there's some newcomers too that they make their presence felt pretty regularly. And so those young players are really starting to grow on a daily basis to go along with that core of guys coming back.
Obviously, we obviously saw how Kollin Ritchie was really showing out in that Athens regional. How excited are you to see how he builds off of that this upcoming season?
Yeah, he did. He played awfully good there. But I think for Kollin, he understands what he needs to do every day. He understands his routine. His preparation's excellent. He gets in the cage each day, and he stays consistent with how he gets himself prepared to play. He also understands, I think, how people might pitch to him and some of the things he needs to do in the box to be ready for that. And he's had a really good spring so far. I think we've had, between 25 and 30, 40 at-bats for each guy. And his 35 at-bats or so right now have been very, very good. He's hitting the ball in the barrel. He's taking his walks. He's hitting righties. He's hitting lefties. And he's handling a lot of breaking balls really well. So he knows what it is he needs to do. He's committed to the process that it takes every single day. He's strong. He's in great shape right now. So those are all the things you want heading into a season. Clear-cut idea of, what your routine is and how you're going to attack the other team.
Josh, you mentioned Aidan coming back. What's it like for someone like him who comes from such a competitive family, brothers, sisters play, and then his dad, of course. Did you remember watching his dad play?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What's it like just having someone like that comes from that kind of family?
I think the coolest thing, to be honest with you, is just the growth of him as a person. He is really he's the best version of himself he's ever been. He's always been a good team player. He was like that the moment he got here. But just the growth of him as a person, where he's at now as a student, he's preparing to graduate. I think he's happy. He's put in the work to bounce back from multiple injuries. I think he's really cherishing being on the field. He's got great relationships across the roster with many of his teammates. Do I think a lot of that has to do with how he was raised? I do. I think he was raised by a great family. But yeah, I think the toughness and the grit and all those characteristics that were part of his upbringing have really served him well since he's been here, and that's why he's still standing. Best year yet is coming for that kid for sure.
You had a fairly small transfer portal class. Was that by design? What went into that, and what do you expect from a couple of those guys? It seemed like they could probably contribute.
Yeah, the 3 kids that we got via transfer are all impact guys for us for sure. Hudson Barrett as a guy that we knew could come in and pitch meaningful innings right away, and he's proven to be that guy for sure. Campbell Smithwick behind the plate, a guy that we knew had big game experience as a catcher and was also a very accomplished performer. And then TP Wentworth, a kid that we recruited really aggressively out of high school that we loved and went to Clemson. And then when the opportunity to have TP join us opened, we were all over that. He's a very talented hitter and a guy that's going to help us on the mound. So those 3 kids were great fits for us. They fit our immediate needs. They fit on the roster right where we needed to be, a little bit more strengthened and a little bit more prepared for the season. They were the right kids at the right spots at the right time for us for sure. And, because we had aggressively recruited a younger group of freshmen and some junior college guys, that was about the right number for us, especially when you kind of got into the middle of the portal recruiting. The way that market was shaping up and the way players were moving along, that's where we landed. And we really like all 3 of those kids.
Josh, the way you talk, through experience, you personally and your staff as a whole, have you learned more kind of where the strike zone is for your program in the portal? And that's why you're confident about that?
Transfer recruiting, as you guys probably follow it across all the different sports, is a little different, I think, sport by sport. I can only speak to our experiences with the players. We were recruiting guys that we thought were the right ones, and a lot of other schools thought they were the right ones as well. So those players found themselves in the month of July, or June, I guess it was really June, leading into July, right before the draft. There was a lot of options and a lot of interest in those players, and so what it would ultimately take to land more than a small number of those players, you have to have an endless supply of resources to do that. And so our sport, a little different than others, I think you can recruit the right transfers and it can be a great thing. How many of those players you can land and how they fit on your roster with what you have to work with, I think that's where every school's in a different spot now. Baseball is not all in the same playing field. We don't all have the same number of scholarships, nor do schools have the same amount of money to spend to acquire players. So you have to recruit inside of what you have to offer and what your needs are. And so we were happy with the 3 guys we got. And I think it's different across the board. I think you can look at a lot of rosters that are 20 transfers deep. And so obviously to recruit like that, you're working with a different set of needs and a different set of resources.
Partner question to that is, you got a really strong freshman class. How do you try and teach those players or impart on those players the patience to let us coach you, let us get you ready, let us make you better, so that they're doing the end product on this diamond at Obrate, not somewhere else in the country?
Well, we think we have great relationships with our freshmen. Many of those guys, we started recruiting them when they were 16 years old. So even though they're only here right now in their first year, we've known them for 3 or 4 years. They were a great fit based on where we thought their talent was coming in and what we think their talent will be while they're here. I think their happiness and their growth is going to be strongly related to their opportunity to contribute, the way they feel each day that they're here. The way they're treated by their teammates, which so far has been exceptional. They know they're a big part of this thing, and they're guys that we believe are the future of our team. They'll contribute now, and we think they'll contribute in a big way over time. And we think we can be successful in that space. We think that's important. We don't want to be 25, 26 new guys a year. That's an extremely difficult recipe for success on a 35-man team. So we want to get back to where we feel like we can really, really develop our guys, and hopefully we're adding 8 to 12 quality players each year to our team to have that stability across the roster.
What jumps do you want to see out of Mario coming into the senior year? And then also, what's it like getting a kid out of the Bronx to come to Stillwater, Oklahoma?
Well, if you look, he's standing right here. Mario is in amazing shape. I tip my cap to him. He can tell you the specifics, but he made a commitment to be in the best shape of his life. He wanted his senior year here to be one in which he put it all on the table. And he started out by figuring out how to get his body in premier shape, to allow his body to move, to help make his pitches take a jump. He's done that. He's been a great example to his teammates that if you want to make changes in your game and elevate your game, you can do it. And he's taken full advantage of the weight room and the nutrition here at Oklahoma State to do that. He's been welcoming and open to learning and making his pitches better, all the while being a great role model to his teammates. So you can ask him, his motivations, but I've been really impressed and respect the work he's put in. He took what I thought was a very gutty junior year last year, and he's built on it. And I think he's focused and knows what it's going to take to have an even better year. What's it like to have a kid from New York? He's an awesome person. He's fun. He's a very worldly young man. You can talk anything you want with him, and he can carry a conversation with just about anybody. So he's fun. He's got a great way about him. He's good to other people. And when it's his turn to compete, he gives it to you every single time from the heart. He pitches from the heart. And best example of that last year in the regional, we're getting ready to open game 1 against Duke, and Sean Youngerman's scheduled to start, and Sean had been pitching exceptionally well and came down with just a really, really difficult sickness and throwing up, and clearly couldn't pitch that day. It happened literally right before the game, and we got 15 minutes to figure out who's getting ready to pitch game 1 of a regional. This kid just steps up and says, "Give me the ball." He hadn't necessarily mentally or emotionally prepared to start the game. He took the ball, he went out there and gave us what he had, comes back a day and a half later and does the same thing. I mean, this kid has courage, he has guts, he has an ability to perform on behalf of his team. So he has a tremendous amount of makeup that's really going to serve him well this year and in life.
Josh, going back to Blake, how you hired him, how'd you navigate that coaching search? I mean, obviously it'd been a while since you had to go through that. How'd you navigate it, and what led you to him?
Yeah, just I collected a lot of names. I visited with people that I thought really knew the pitching space really well. Some guys I've worked with, Derek Johnson, who's a major league coach with the Reds. He knows pitching from the major league side, so I had a list of guys that were currently in the big leagues. I got some information on guys working in the minor leagues from people, and then I obviously did a pretty deep dive on the college side. Had a really good list of people and background them and researched what their strengths were as coaches and kind of where they were as people, where they were at with their families, and really wanted to know the people behind the coach, right? There's a lot of information out there about coaching, but coaching college players and college pitchers versus, say, coaching big league pitchers, and then the recruiting process of recruiting elite college pitchers and getting them to campus and then coaching them, all those things I think play into being a really successful college pitching coach. And so Blake had a tremendous, every time I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, what do you think out on the west side of the country? Who's doing an unbelievable job?" And his name came back first every single time. So I'd known him a little bit. He pitched with the Cardinals some, and I'd met him when Matt was on the team, but didn't know him, I would say, real extensively, just knew him a little. But when I researched him and then had a chance to talk with him, and I felt there was a perfect fit. I thought he had a great balanced set of skills and a passion to recruit, a passion to coach, a passion to teach, all the things that I think you need to have to be really effective in today's college baseball. So it was a pretty comprehensive, exercise. I kept a lot of notes and took names down and called people and really just tried to understand what was out there, really, and wanted to find somebody that I thought could nail it for us. And I felt great about it.
Having, so many key returning pieces, like you said, and then an influx of freshman pieces, 16 freshman newcomers, obviously. How much can that contribute to your depth, and how vital can that be early on in the season?
Well, it's already important because we lost Hunter Watkins this fall to a knee injury, so we will be without Hunter this year. And if you watched this close last year, Hunter pitched a lot of good innings last year and had a great summer in Cape Cod and was really going to shape up as probably a weapon in this year's staff. So already it's on display. We may be without Matthew Brown as well. So two kids last year that pitched a lot and pitched effectively. So the depth is huge. The development of players throughout your roster is always something you have to be really, I think, committed to doing. And it's going to take all the kids that are here. One of the things the team has talked about, our main focus right now and what we're most determined to do is to get the most out of each other every single day. We feel like as a team, if we do that, we're going to give ourselves a tremendous opportunity to be very good and play for something meaningful. So that's something that we've talked about. It's something that we'll have to stay on from start to finish, is to develop every guy to have that depth that you speak about.
Mr. Matthew Brown, is that a potential long-term situation?
Those two boys may not be available for the whole year. Yeah, and that's the hard part. Gosh, when your kids get hurt, it stings for them, and it hurts as a coach because you know how much they put into this, right? And when they don't get a chance to launch into the season or be there, that's hard. But it is part of it. So we just pick each other up and wrap our arms around them, get them healthy, get them one day closer to being back, right? That's how we've looked at it with each guy.
Coach, you've obviously returned a good bit of infielders for this season. A notable newcomer, Terrance Bowen. What's he brought to the team this offseason for you?
Terrance is a talented player, very good freshman from Atlanta, very nice hitter, versatile athlete, smooth game. I like how he operates, hard worker, a lot of qualities there to like. He's only getting better every single day too, certainly as he gets stronger. So, you look on the infield, the guy that's probably had, along with Kollin, the best early spring has been, excuse me, you get going here. But you start looking at guys. Garrett Scholl has been excellent all fall. He had a great summer. He's played some third, some second, some first, and last year as a freshman, Garrett played some outfield. So between Aidan and Avery, Brock, Kollin, what Garrett's done at multiple positions, you mentioned Terrance. We've had good production on the infield, and we have some good options there. And Garrett's been a rock. He's just been quiet and steady, and you look up every single day and go, gosh, Garrett went 2 for 3 with the home run. Gosh, Garrett went 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a double. And he's strong and versatile and very, very tough. So all those kids have done a nice job. I feel really good about where all those kids are at.
Josh, when you look at it, you and your dad have almost a combined 50 years in this baseball program.
Yeah,
do you still have the same passion, or is it even more exceeding than when you were a kid, just running around Stillwater?
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've had a bad day in 14 years since I've been back, and I know I never had a bad one as a kid, and I know I never had a bad one in the 4 years I got to play here. So it's joy. I mean, you love something, you care about it, you work at it, you pour yourself into it, you empty your tank every single night, and you fight like crazy to protect it and make it better. Yeah, I don't know really a whole lot else, although I did have the unique opportunity to work elsewhere for a period of time, and that was also wonderful, but you never thought you could possibly feel the emotional connection and pride that you feel when it's that personal. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't feel more personal or your care level for it. But I think that's how you want it. That's how you want your players to feel when they leave here. You want them to have a connection that lasts forever. They turn on the TV and root for their school on Saturday, or they pop on the TV on Wednesday night and root for the basketball team or the wrestlers or whatever it is. You want them to care about it forever. So there's no doubt that there's that meaningfulness to it. Yeah, that's a real thing for sure.
You were talking about freshmen. I was here with my grandsons watching a scrimmage the other day. My 4-year-old grandson picked out Sebastian Norman as his favorite player. And he pointed him out, and you said he's got a pretty good eye for talent. How's he progressing?
Really good. These guys can tell you Sebastian's a true freshman, and he opens our eyes daily. He's a strong, powerful kid. He runs like a college middle linebacker. He's built like a college fullback, and yet you put a bat in his hand, and he's skilled. He's a graceful baseball player, built in a really, really physical package, and he's been a fantastic freshman so far. Danny Wallace hit a home run yesterday on a first pitch, hit one right through the teeth of the wind for a true freshman, hit a opposite field home run. So these guys have been a lot of fun. They show real signs of excellent futures, and they're going to get opportunity to help this team right away. I mean, these kids were brought in to play. And I think it kind of goes back to your question, or how many transfers do you bring in? Well, I think for every 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 transfers you bring in and you cover up a talented freshman, you run the risk of those young men not having a chance to put their talent into the mix. And if their talent doesn't get to the field and they're not in the mix early, then it's very difficult to have a program of development if all you're doing is taking a bunch of 21 and 22-year-olds and never giving a young player a chance to put their cleats in the ground, right? And so we're gonna believe in these kids and compete together, and we're gonna grow these kids into being great players.
Is that a difficult thing to navigate when you are trying to get those guys some at-bats or innings, but you also have the established guys you've already talked about?
It's good competition. It's healthy. You got good young players fighting their tail off each day. You got veteran players going, this young guy right here is coming on. It's good competition. It's healthy. It makes us better, and it's needed. It's necessary. It's good for teams when players are developing and then they're improving and they're creating that feeling that, hey, there's guys coming, they're pushing. And we know seasons are hard. Depth is required and injuries happen and guys, got to jump in. So I think you want it that way. I think that's a really healthy thing when good young players are being loved and led by veteran players and they're growing simultaneously side by side. And yeah, we got to find a way to get them all in there and find a way for them to attach to this team. Absolutely.
Josh, we're a year into the new look Big 12.
Yes.
Was it your stance on where you thought the league would be, where it is, where it needs to be?
Super interesting question. We lost 2 teams that, I thought had really good baseball rosters in Texas and OU, but I don't think what people saw was the quality of the rosters at Arizona and Arizona State. Those 2 teams have brought an immediate depth of talent and tradition and baseball pedigree that I knew a little bit about, having coached at ASU and having been around the U of A. I knew those teams were going to be really good, Barry. Probably just you look at like a Utah, they just opened a brand new beautiful stadium, so they've upped their investment in baseball and their determination in baseball is much higher than it once was. BYU, we haven't had a chance to go there yet, and we only played them once. We missed them last year, so I don't have as good a feel for where they're at. But teams like UCF, teams like Cincinnati, these teams they're better than I think people probably thought they would be coming into it. State of Florida has tons of baseball. The transfer side of it is they're getting some players that maybe started out at other schools in state that came to them that they're ready to play. So I think it's much better than we anticipated. I don't know that anyone saw probably the emergence of some of those schools, but I think despite losing some excellent teams in Texas and OU, we picked up a couple and we have a few emerging. I would say it's very good, and I would say maybe underappreciated, but that's kind of par for the course right now. I think that's part of reforming your identity as a conference, and then also people being used to or okay with saying, gosh, they're pretty good at baseball. Wow, this is a little better than we thought.
Josh, you obviously probably remember the surge that Brock Thompson had toward the end of last year and the steps he made in that right direction. What are you expecting him out of this year, and what do you see him playing this year?
I think he's going to play well. I think Brock, like most guys, is growing in his confidence. When he's playing well, there's a simplicity and a confidence to his game, and then the days it's not there, we got to clean up those gaps and make those days more consistent, right? We saw glimpses. I mean, you saw him twirl the bat and hit an opposite field walk-off home run against a guy throwing an upper 90s sinker, and he made it look easy. So there's times when his game looks extremely easy, and that's when the talent shows up. I think he caught 7 balls 2 days ago in one practice of diving and catching balls, and you're sitting there going, my gosh, like it was impressive, right? So it's there. Like all young players, it's getting consistent. It's staying healthy. He missed a good period of the fall with a broken leg, so that was a tough blow. So we lost him and TP in the fall due to injuries. So getting those kids back and healthy and the back into the flow is a big part of kind of what these last 3 weeks have been, and hopefully what the next 10 days are before we open. And then we're like any team, we'll need to get better as we go, for sure. We'll need to grow and take advantage of the early season part to find ourselves before conference play. But we're going to know where we're at right away. We're basically playing a regional tournament opening weekend, and that's going to be fun. And why the heck not, right? I mean, go play against 3 great teams in a great environment. That's going to grow you no matter what the result is. The process is going to be sound, and we're going to be much more, I think, aware of where we're good and aware where we have to get better, right? So hopefully environments like that will speed up, like you said, his ability to perform right away.
Coach, you obviously, had to overcome quite a bit of adversity last season to, rebound and make it to the regional. I mean, how tough was it to overcome that late season adversity and then make your way over to the regional in Athens?
It was probably one of the most rewarding feelings I've ever had at the end of the year, to just look at what a bunch of kids overcame and still held their head high, competed exceptionally well at the end, did so on behalf of their program, did so with one of the most unique springs I've ever been a part of. I mean, and again, I don't view any of these as excuses. They're just simple facts. I mean, I don't know that we played a 3-game series in the first 6 weeks on schedule. We had kids lose their homes due to a fire. We had multiple injuries. We just had things happen that just weren't normal. And so how we handled things that weren't normal was definitely tough. And yet they stuck with it. They hung in there. And they put their guts on the line for us. They competed with a lot of courage, and I was incredibly proud of them. I thought we showed just as much tenacity and fight as ever. Was the body of work in the comprehensive whole what we wanted? No, but was the foundational, I'd say what's on the wall, was that on display? Yeah, it was. And so sometimes you have to be able to see what really went on. Your view of what they accomplished, you still have to be realistic, and I thought they gave us everything they had.
You good? All right.
Okay, good to see you.
Thanks for coming.